Why are you not changing XSplit? There we go. Alright, welcome everyone to oGs up against ZENEX for the KSL. It is going to be, of course, ZENEX Pet as our blue Zerg down at the bottom left of Daybreak up against oGs's Juk2. Now, Pet, I've never seen play before, never heard of him before, so this is going to be interesting. Of course, we have seen in the KSL this week many players who are like, on paper are very much underdogs have come out to do quite a bit of interesting plays. For example, MVP's Finale and Noblesse yesterday. Definitely check those, not replays, those VODs out. But Juk2, a staple lineup in the oGs roster. He just hasn't been able to break through the KD qualifiers yet. I am Unstable, joined here by Railcoon for tonight. And it looks like we actually do have a fast expand coming out from Juk2. And yeah, as we were saying, a 10 pull from Pet. That always happens to me. I go into these long explanations and then like, oh wait, something's happening.
Well, I was watching the timing on that because I figured you missed it. And yeah, it was a 10 pool. It was not an overpool or anything like that. So that's generally the, I'm going to apply a bit of pressure to you and be able to drone behind it safely, but since Juk2 is actually going hatch first, this could do a decent amount of damage. He's
got the pull here, Railcoon, so he's got actually only got 2 workers on gas. I think that's actually a mistake there, of course. We do have 6 Zerglings on the way. A 2-player map will be able to put a lot of pressure here on Juk2. The main thing that usually happens in this situation is Pet will ignore this expansion, actually go straight for the drone straight away. And as the Zerglings try and come out here for Juk2, he's going to try and get us around on the eggs as they pop out, getting some nice damage, killing them off very quickly. Of course, we do see we are almost at 100 gas. We're getting a queen as well. Most likely going to go straight into link speed. He does have enough. There it goes, straight into link speed, and he's taking his workers off of gas. So it's not going to be one of the dreaded, very quick main links as well, because that is just disgusting, and it makes me feel dirty when I see it.
That's usually off the 6 pool. Like, the 10 pool is a safer opening, and you can see that Juk2, the moment he sees those Zerglings, actually cancels the hatchery. He might want to leave that there a little bit longer, just in case Pet decides to attack it with his Zerglings. Not many people make that mistake, but, you know, you might as well give him that chance. But here he is on the drones. Juk2 not quite microing those as effectively as he wants. A couple of them already have gone down. More Zerglings flooding in.
He needs to get us around on these eggs.
He has his own Zerglings, so he does need to get over there. But he's actually minimizing the drone losses a decent amount. There's only 3 going down, and he didn't get the surround on the eggs. So it looks like Juk2 will be able to hold that.
Well, it was interesting there, like he was trying to do the mineral walks around on the Zerglings, but Pet wasn't having anything to do with it. Did buy enough time, as you were saying, as well, only lost 3 workers. But behind this, he's been droning a little bit. He's only down by 4 drones. He would have liked to even up a little bit more than that, but of course he has 14 Zerglings on the field compared to the 8 of Juk2. And he's continuing to get more Zerglings because his link speed is finishing up very, very quickly. He will be able to run circles around the Zerglings here for Juk2, of course, as he's only just now started to get gas. And they are going to catch these Zerglings in the middle of the map very, very quickly, and they are going to have the numbers as well. Juk2 wisely just stopping and fighting, doing damage at all.
This is really dangerous. He only just started that spine crawler. He needed that much sooner. He actually has to cancel it because it's way out of position. He's going to surround the first queen. Second queen's probably going to follow shortly there afterwards. He's actually surrounding with his drones to try and protect it, but he doesn't get a full surround. So Zerglings are in there, taking out that queen. And there it goes. You can see he's on stop move with the drones.
Yeah.
So the Zerglings wouldn't target it. I mean, it's a good move, but it just wasn't enough. Both queens have gone down. It looks like the Spine Crawler will just barely be able to finish, but he's lost so many drones up to this point, it doesn't really matter.
No, he's not expecting that follow-up for the speed from the Zerglings. And there's the GG. Pet will take down game number 1 with an unexpected follow-up for Juk2, unfortunately losing a lot of those Zerglings in the middle of the map. There was about 6 to 8 Zerglings there as he was trying to push back a little bit. Didn't expect that gas at all. So nicely done by ZENEX Pet. And something we didn't do before this game, Relkin, is we actually didn't say what our predictions might have been. And I was actually thinking ZENEX might cause an upset here. Even though they had the disbanding moment in GSTL, they have a lot of their players moved on to Slayers, I still think they can pull something out. So we are going to go into game number 2 any second. We'll see who oGs wants to pull out next.
I still got to go with oGs. I mean, hopefully ZENEX will make it close, but in the end, I think oGs will wind up pulling this one out. I don't see them in the best of 11 format, especially with that many games. I see it tough for them to lose.
Yeah, we'll find out. Of course, we are... Anyone just joining us, ZENEX versus oGs for the Korean Star League. It's going to be a best of 11 between these guys. Pet taking out Juktu in the first game. And just waiting on oGs to pick the map and their next player. Of course, it is the same rules as GSTL. Except GSTL does, I believe it was best of 7 for the normal play. Whereas this one is actually best of 11. It does even it out a little bit more, forces teams to use more of their roster. I like the fact that they're forced to do that. It gives more than just the ace players a little bit of play. But a lot of the Korean teams recently have been really just throwing out a lot of underdog players into these to get them experience, get them used to feeling what it's like in the booth for GSTL or under pressure in these situations, and really foster their homegrown talent, which is really good to see.
Yeah, especially on the starter position in these types of formats, you do tend to start off with one of the B-teamers or an up-and-comer quite frequently just to give them a shot. Because every once in a while, if they're on a good day, they'll pull out an all-kill or they'll kill several people in a row, and it makes the match much easier. So
yeah,
we've been seeing a lot of people saving their aces for like the last 2 to 3 games, depending on how many they have on their team that they want to throw out there. So
yeah, exactly. Some teams did leave it to the very last player before they sent it out, but a couple of teams have been burned by doing that before, so usually, like you were saying, it's the last 1 or 2 these days. Okay, so we're just waiting on oGs's choice here for the next map and player, and I just did it really close to my mic again, didn't I?
Yep.
Sorry.
Then you proceed to do it again.
What? That was nowhere near it. Alright, so if anyone's curious about the results from IM versus FXO, MVP versus NSO, and StarTale versus Prime, you can check that out over on FX Open's YouTube, youtube.com/FXOpenEsports. Sum that up, because not only are the KSL games going there, but also the new FX Open Invitational is going to be going there as well. And we have quite a few players in that now, and believe it or not, oGs just did submit their lineup to the Invitational, and they are going to be sending Nada, Finn, and the STC to that 32-player double limb tournament for $5,000 prize pool. Definitely going to be something to watch in the January. But right now, we are waiting for oGs's second player. And we're just waiting. Waiting.
They hosted yet? No, they haven't. So they're pondering. They're sitting there going, "Are you pondering what I'm pondering, Pinky?"
Possibly. Wait, I just completely missed that joke.
You did.
I did.
Yes, you did.
And I realized as soon as I missed it too. Got all Pinky in the brain. Alright.
It's okay. I won't judge you too much.
You've already judged me. There is no more judging. You're not worth my time. Alright. There's going to be STC coming up second. Well,
ooh,
they didn't want to put anyone else out soon, did they? They want to go for the kill. The STC. Terran. Blue. Red. Alright, let's go. Come on. The map is, of course, going to be Antigua Shipyards. It, of course, is the GSL version as well. And there we go. So it is going to be the second game. ZENEX Pet up against oGs, the STC. The STC has some pretty beastly TVZ. I'm going to have to favor him quite heavily in this one. But as we've seen, Railcoon, in this week's especially, there is no such thing as a favored person in these team games. No such thing, because every time we say that, the underdog just comes and just wins. And it's like, huh? Where did that come from? Alright, so we're getting a "Are we ready?" from the admins. We'll get this started as soon as possible, guys. But these games are live, so we are going to have to put up with a little bit of downtime in between games. But there we go. Countdown has started, Railcoon. Who do you think is going to win this match here, off the top of your head? No thinking,
STC.
go. Okay, STC. That was a bit of an easy one.
You're going on and on about how there's no such a thing as a favorite, but I mean, it's STC. He's playing against a Zerg player. We're not on one of the maps that he's going to be unfamiliar with. Yeah, it's not a hard call there.
Lies and slander, as we do have like 10 observers. We're going to wait a little bit for the map to load. This is being broadcast in multiple languages, of course, German, Russian, Korean, English. There's 2 English streams. If you do get tired of us, you can go check out K2 StarCraft. He's up there as well on Team Liquid. But I'm sure none of you will be doing that.
Who?
He's K2 StarCraft. He actually does quite a good job, to be honest.
Never seen him before, so wouldn't know.
So elitist Railcoon, bad manner.
Not
Okay.
being elitist, I'm just saying I've never seen him before.
Alright, welcome back everyone. Game number 2 here between ZENEX and oGs. It is going to be a best of 11 here for the Korean Star League. 2012 opening ceremonies, I am unstable, and joined here by Railcoon today. We do have ZENEX Pet currently 1-0 for his team here against oGs Chuktu. Is going to be at the top position here as our Red Zerg. And of course oGs, the STC down here at the bottom right as our Blue Terrans. So Antigua Shipyard's GSL version, of course, anyone who's not familiar, I'm going to run over it real quick. No gold minerals in the middle. And especially, it is forced cross positions. It can either be top left, bottom right, or vice versa with these 2 positions here. Now, Pet did a very aggressive strategy last time, Railcoon, and it did work out for him. Caught Juk2 off guard with a follow-up to what happened. So, would you think we're going to see something similar, or is he going to be a little bit more nervous considering the STC is widely known for being a very strong, consistent player in the Korean scene?
I mean, he went for the 10 pool, and he did it in a very safe way and just happened to catch the pretty delayed hatch first into the double queen from... Oh my god, Juk2. Yeah, there we go. So it wasn't really a super aggressive build. It was just one of those, I'm going to apply pressure and be safe behind it, and just caught him being greedy. So I'd expect him just to play normal here in this game because it's Antigua. It's Zerg versus Terran. There's not too many crazy options early on.
Yeah. Well, of course, as you say that, we do see the gas going down here for the STC. Is a fan of the Reaper opening against Zerg players. Has a very strong micro. But we'll see if he wants to use that in this one. He's of course going to have the gas pretty much instantly. There's the tech lab, as we do see, of course, Pet throwing down his natural hatchery as well. Gas before pool after that hatchery. Interesting choice. Does open up a few different options for him. But we'll see.
Yeah, and with the rally point on this barracks, he is actually going to be going for at least 1 Reaper. And there's an SCV moving across the map. Possibly going to see if he's going to try and set up a bunker, but you can see that Pet has an Overlord hanging around in position. He's making the noise while he looks for the SCVs to make sure that there's no sneaky bunkers being placed. He actually moves it farther out of position.
Well, here's the
just
thing
to cover
that,
the ramp.
That I've seen do before. You actually put the bunker here, or here-ish, and you jump up and down with the Reaper. It is so frustrating. It makes me almost cry when I see Zergs having to deal with that. Because you just can't do anything about it. Like, the Reaper outruns you in the first place, and then he jumps off cliffs. It's just absolutely not cool. But it doesn't look like we're going to see that from the STC this time. Is SCV still here, seeing what's going on? Of course, 4 Zerglings on the way, a transfer of drones. It's actually going to send about 10 drones down here. As, of course, we do see the command center.
It's interesting to be sending that many. I mean, I've seen people do that when their opponent isn't...
Oh, but hold that thought. Here comes the Reaper, and he's actually going to get surrounded by Pet. That was very nicely done. Oh, just going straight for it. Didn't lose a single drone in that, as the Zerglings popped at the perfect time to catch that off guard. The STC is going to be a little bit taken aback that he's not going to be able to see anything after this.
Yeah, that's what you call denied. But, I mean, with the drones down in the natural, I've seen people do that when they deny scouting. And then you send a lot of drones down to the natural, so it looks like you droned really hard and you don't have any units. That can actually fake people out in the right circumstances, but he just, like, did that in front of him, so I'm not entirely sure what the purpose of sending that many drones was.
Okay, so we're actually going to see the transition here from the STC into a double command center and reacted Hellions. Of course, one of them is warping into orbital command. One just started here. So, and look at this, Pet taking a very, very quick 3rd base. This could turn around to be harmful to him if he doesn't really have any way to deal with the Hellions straight away. A lot of the time you see, as we saw with, I believe it was Lenok versus Happy, was very contained with those Hellions sitting on the outside of the creep. And having a 3rd base here and not enough Zerglings to really deal with it could be very dangerous. Of course, he has poked up that ramp and seen that there is a command center just sitting there. Didn't see any of the extra tech though. He's got his Overlord on the left, a Scout at the beginning, and everything is in, if you look at his vision, everything is where he just in one big line where he can't see stuff.
Yeah, and if you look at this, Pet hasn't even started a spine crawler yet. He's just sitting here. He's got a second queen that just popped out at the natural. That's most likely going to start walking towards the third base here in a second. And without, well, any more Zerglings or a spine crawler or anything, these reactor Hellions could actually do quite a lot of damage.
And as you're saying that, an Overlord's coming into the base for the STC, for Pet, I'm sorry. And the STC had actually moved his factory to go and make a tech lab, so we didn't notice that there are the Hellions here. There is going to be 4 that are catching completely off guard because it looked like it was just another barracks being made on that factory. All right, so
yeah, except if you look at STC, he's actually using these Hellions very defensively, setting them up at the top of the ramp. They're not moving out to the center of the map to get any map control. He's not clearing off the watchtower. He's just sitting here making sure Zerglings don't run by. This is actually very curious. It looks like he could be gearing up for some form of a timing attack, but he went for that quick third base.
well,
So unless he just uses that for mules and then just goes for a timing once these tanks are out, I'm not entirely sure what the purpose of this is, because like he hasn't used these Hellions to get control of the center at all.
yeah, it definitely smells of a read on his opponent. Of course, just because the foreigner scene hasn't really seen these guys play doesn't mean these two haven't hit each other on ladder before. And some Zerg players do tend to overload on a lot of Zerglings to try and deny these expansions. So that's probably what the STC is thinking. Of course, we do have Stim is finished now, and getting siege mode is done as well. So there we go. We do see the Hellions moving out. Creep spread is looking very nice here for Pet at the moment. Looking at unit counting station, we have 56 to 38 workers, and here come the Hellions.
Look at that! The moment that the Hellions move through the center of the map, the Zerglings actually swing down. Oh, I thought they were going to go for the run by the natural, but they're actually breaking the rocks at the third. Same time, but the Hellions almost getting surrounded, barely slipping out. One of them getting caught there. He's actually barely keeping these Hellions alive with that random movement. And now it looks like Pet's not even micro.
Oh, very nice positioning.
As STC's actually able to roast those very easily.
Great positioning by the STC, kept that last Hellion alive, does finish off the rest of those Zerglings. He's going to lose this third base rocks very quickly though. This is going to hurt him later on in the game, but we do of course have the lair finished up now in the main. For Pet, getting Baneling speed very quickly. He's got double Evo chambers that I was pointing out on the stream before. And that sounded like Space Invaders. I don't know if you heard that or I'm just going crazy. But we are going to have a macro hatch here for Pet, and I think Relkun just muted himself because I'm assuming it's a phone call, but that's alright. Spine Crawler is going down at the third base for him, and he's actually going to see this command center moving across, so nice read by...
Yeah, this is going in Pet's favor up to this point, because of the fact that STC was sitting there acting really defensive against any early Zergling pressure. Right when Pet was just droning up really hard, he was actually cutting a lot of corners and would have been vulnerable against those Hellions, but he never tried to even poke in with those at all. So now the economy for Pet is actually really good. Look at the worker count. It's 61 to 49. He's sitting on those 3 bases. Macro Hatch is almost done. Infestors will be out. Like, he's going to be in a really solid position here soon. And STC is only just now, for the first time, really trying to take control of the center of the map. But it looks like he's actually moving out just to break down the rocks towards his 4th.
Here's the thing though, Relkun, we do have 5 Infestors on the way, Pathogen Glands. I think they're actually a little bit too soon for Pathogen Glands, like by a second or two here.
Oh no,
but...
please no. Yeah, you're right. They're gonna finish before. At least
that's
one
right.
of them.
We do see,
the
of
production
course...
tab shows the first Infestor that pops, so it might be just one.
Of course, we do see Pet seeing this force coming forward. He has a lot of Zerglings. He's getting Baneling morphed right here now, and we have nice tank positioning by the STC at the bottom of this third base. He's going to try and go up, but there are a lot of Zerglings on the field here, Relkun. We've got 52 Zerglings, more Banelings being morphed in. He's going to have these Infestors, no energy on one of them.
Two of them don't have the energy. All the rest of them did pop up the energy upgrades, so those two are only really going to be able to throw out Infested Terrans, but he does have still a good number of Fungals for this early on in the game. A lot of Zerglings and Banelings.
Going to come from both sides. Here he comes, going in. A nice Fungal on a lot of the Marines with the that are covering these tanks. The Banelings are not exploding on purpose, so very nicely done. And he is going to be able to clean this up, but he is going to lose an Overlord, and he of course lost the Queen earlier. But very nice patience there by Pet. And like we were saying, some of these unknown players actually played pretty damn well.
Yeah, he could have microed that a little bit better. The Zerglings, like, since he got that good fungal, he probably would have sent the Zerglings straight onto the tank. So he did wind up losing a few extra units, some of the Banelings going down when they shouldn't have, but he's in a really good economic position like we're talking about. So
oh, but he's going to go for the middle of the map.
Fine. It's a minor mistake. He's
actually going to go for it here. There's a lot of Zerglings, but they actually split up. I think that was just a AI error, because half of them went around the top and half of them went straight into the tank fire. Unfortunate for Pet, but he's going straight for Ultras. Look at this, Railcoon. Ultras and Lynx. He's got 2-2 finished, of course. Adrenal glands as well, and that's going to be done a good maybe minute before the STC has his 2-2 done.
That scares me, though, just because of the whole watching the success of Ultras in good games in the past. The success rate with Ultras is actually very, very low if you look at it statistically.
Oh, but run by into the third. As we say that, there is nothing anywhere close to try and defend this. There's enough Zerglings to actually take out the reinforcements coming down here as well. There's a tank, a few Marines, and the Marauders. It looks like the STC moving up to the 12 o'clock base that he just scouted as well.
There we go.
And these Zerglings doing
if he can get the rest of the Zerglings out, that would actually be really good. But oh no, he didn't pull the rest of his army. He only pulled a small group here.
Yeah, and it's not going to take it out either. These Zerglings going...
Wow.
Zerglings
I thought he pulled
more
units than that, so I was thinking he should actually get out. But then when I stopped and realized how few units that was, yeah, those upgrades really coming into play here. You can see 3-3 halfway done. And after losing that many units, this could actually be one of the few times where Ultralists are going to work unstable.
He's actually, I like this by Pet. Look at this. He sacrificed his 12 o'clock base and he's going to wait for the STC to unsiege, get out of position and come down. As a lot of infestors, no ghosts on the field at all or even anywhere close. Of course, we do see the Marauders in the field and there, look at that. It's a couple of infested Terrans down to draw the tank fire. Fungals everywhere. The Marines are absolutely melting. A few Banelings exploding on the tanks, which is unfortunate, but at the same time does lift off that final tank for the STC. Now here, Railcoon, they're actually quite even on supply, but Pet has a massive tech advantage. And oh, Infested Terrans actually take out that Medivac and the tank beneath it. The STC takes.
He tried to unload the tank at the last second and getting away, but wasn't quite fast enough as it took some Zergling hits before that. But good job of Pet so far. I don't think he's lost an Infestor. He's still sitting on the 6 that he's had this.
Oh, but he's going to lose a couple now. He does lose one. 2 goes down. 3 go down in the middle of the map. Nice little Marauder force there for the STC. Of course, has the Marauders early to deal with these Ultralists. Lots of Banelings being morphed now. 13 in production, but the STC is still not that far behind in the tech. He's doing a really good job with these Marauders, poking forward, doing as much damage to these Ultralists as he can, and then darting back into the tank range.
Yeah, and especially since he's off creep as well, and those Infestors aren't close by, he's using this Watchtower to watch the Infestor positioning. This is actually very good. You can also see that he's only sending a few Marauders forward in case he gets caught by those Fungals. Nice job getting another Infestor there. As long as he stays off creep and doesn't get fungled, these Ultras will never catch the Marauders.
Oh, but Pet's had enough. He's coming forward. There's not enough Fungals here. Whoa, does get one in the SCV line as well. Baneling's rolling right through there. A lot of these Marines going down. The Ultras crushing right through this force. What were you saying, Relku, about Ultras not being useful?
I said without the Fungals, he will never catch them. Good Fungals by Pet. He actually moved forward at the perfect timing. He got the right number of units out before he went in on that. And I think that really comes down to that previous engagement where he lost so many units in the center of the map to the Zerglings. If he had his full force that he had earlier, he might have been able to stop that just because it's just straight in like Ultra Zergling with a few Infestors.
And now Pet is in a very strong advantage, actually. 177 supply to 120. Drop moving into the main. It has been spotted by Pet, of course. He has the Spine Crawler there ready. Going to lose a couple of Overlords by the looks of it. And believe it or not, this Ultra actually might... Whoa! He's actually going to lift up and back off. So, the STC is finally at 3-3 in about 10 seconds. He's going to have +2 vehicle weapons as well, but he doesn't really have the army science to be able to deal with this. Pet does have his 4th base, now getting a 5th as well, has been denying any kind of harassment from the STC this entire game. He's going to lose another Infestor in the middle of the map.
He's doing a good job with that. That's actually, most of the Infestors, there's only 2 left at this point. And those are new Infestors, so they each only have 1 Fungal. There's another one about to pop out. But if you look at this, you know, this isn't over for STC. His bank is comparable Pat's right now. He's not that far behind expansion-wise. If he can keep this, close in the expansion count, then he can drag this into the later game. And that's where the Terran...
But as you say that, there's actually lots of Fungals going down, Ultras going everywhere, but there is a lot of Marauders here, and they might actually chew through these Ultras with no tomorrow. There is a lot more, only one Ultra left. The Queens are actually lagging behind because they're off creep, and that trade did not go anywhere near where Pet wanted it to.
Like Ultra. I'm sorry. They're so hard to use correctly. You have to attack the perfect.
And there's actually a drop in the middle as well. He's going to lose that hatchery here, Elkun. He's actually trying to remax on a lot of Zerglings and Mutas to mix it up here because it's very Marauder and tank heavy. A good choice by Pet.
Problem is he's only got about 12 Mutas out at the moment. Are there turrets up? There's a few around, not many. And that actually, if he goes straight after the workers, he'll be able to do a good amount of economic damage. But it looks like SCC is going to be able to set up here in the center of the map. He's got his Bioforce tanks right here on the watchtower, so he's going to take out that fourth base of Pet, keep him on 4. So there's still even economic.
But he's going to come forward. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of this decision. Banelig's being targeted down by all these tanks. They're not able to get the rest of the Marines, and there's not enough Mutas to help deal with the Marines in the middle here. He does have 5 Corruptors, of course, on the way for that Great Aspire that should have been finished by now. Yes, it is. Is he going to live until he ended? So that's the question. There's a lot of Marines.
No, I think this is over. Look at the supply difference. He's not going to be able to get Rulers out.
No.
It's only Zerglings on the way. He can't afford to really throw more Mutalisks into the equation. He's out of Fungals. And that's the thing, is like, Ultralisks, you gotta use them correctly. They're very difficult to use. One bad engagement, they all die, that's a lot of money wasted. And that's exactly what happened to Pet in the center of the map. Just attacked it at the wrong moment, he got annihilated by the tank line of STC, and then just couldn't stand up to his army after that.
No, he couldn't. There was just way too many Marauders, hard-counted unit composition too strongly. And we is losing all these Brutal Ultratrons as well. That's probably going to be it. After being 70 supply up, he has forced the GG, and the STC bringing it back to 1-1 apiece. Let's see who ZENEX can send out to take out the STC. We'll, of course, be right back once we get the player choice by ZENEX. Stay with us. Alrighty, so we have... What the... Hang on.
What are you thing about?
Oh, my interface just went weird. Anyway, so we are going to have a few different choices coming in from ZENEX. Of course, don't have as strong a lineup as they used to. Pet taking out Juktu, and then the STC coming back, and really coming from a very underhanded... Like, he just had a very weak advantage. Pet was all over him for a little bit. And then, of course, the Mass Marauders really ate into those Ultras. I think if Pet had transitioned into Brutalids a little bit sooner, would have been a lot easier. But we're just going to wait for ZENEX to pick their next player, and we'll get straight into it. Of course, losing team does get to pick the player and the map here for the KSL 2012 opening ceremonies. It is going to be ZENEX versus oGs.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the roster for ZENEX so I can take a look of what they might bring out. But
There's no... I don't think there's actually an updated one at the moment.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I have no idea. I can't find an updated one.
That's alright. We'll keep it a mystery for us until we get into the game. And it looks like the KSL admin has made the game now. Just going to wait for an invite and get this thing started. But one apiece, we didn't expect that kind of play coming in from Pet in the first game. And then the second one, he had a very strong lead, but unfortunately couldn't pull it and close off. But the STC is someone very hard to kill, so it's not really that bad against him.
You can see that he was playing to that style as well. He was behind, so he just withdrew, started playing defensively, going for the later game. If he can stay alive, get the good unit composition out, it can be really difficult to deal with that Terran army in the really late stages of the game. She just started delaying, and then Pet was getting impatient because he didn't want to have to deal with that. Made a few bad attacks, and that's all it really took. So it was good play by STC there.
Okay, so it's going to be ZENEX Life up next. So this is definitely someone who could take out the STC, most definitely. Of course, it is going to be on dual site. We're going to have a ZVT again. Let's get this started. And welcome back, everyone. Game number 3 here for ZENEX Life up against oGs, the STC. It is for the Korean Star League's 2012 opening ceremonies. ZENEX versus oGs in a best of 11 GSTL style team match. Of course, we have the STC just coming fresh off the first win for oGs against ZENEX Pet over here as our blue Terran. And of course, we have ZENEX Life over here on the right as our yellow Zerg. Life, a very strong Zerg player. Definitely wouldn't put it past him to take this one down. It was his map choice as well here, Relkun. Of course, I am unstable, joined by Relkun for this match. And it's going to be interesting. If anyone can take it down, it's going to be Life.
This is a smaller map. It's curious if they sent out the Zerg player again, because like we were discussing earlier, SCC is really good against Zerg. But it seems like Life is really confident. He probably just spoke up and said, yeah, I can take him, don't worry about it. And we'll see what his plan is. It's actually sending a drone out here really quickly away from his natural. Is looking for a proxy, I assume?
Yeah.
But he could actually be hiding the hatch on one of these other bases. I assume he's just looking for the proxy, though. Yeah, okay. I was getting worried there. I thought he was going to do some like really crazy hidden hatchery open, try and throw him completely off guard. And the problem is on a small map that doesn't really work as well because it's so much easier to find. So just checking for the proxy because that is actually somewhat common here on dual site.
Well, we'll find out in a minute as to his game plan. Of course, no gas this time from the STC, so we're not going to see any Reaper openings. Didn't exactly work out too well for him in the last game at all. So maybe he's going for something different here this time. Of course, he usually would get his gas by about now, but actually it looks at this SCV down here. And the resources being banked up. You might be going for a 1-Rax expand here, Relkun.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Just going for the no gas expand. He's going to drop it down here at the bottom of his base, finish up that wall. It's curious that he did it without finishing the wall first, but a lot of Zerg players don't even bother to try and scout anymore, so he's not too worried about that. He's just going to drop that a little bit later. The main issue would have been the fact that, well, STC hasn't scouted yet. And if Life had mixed this up on the small map by going for some sort of a progressive pool, just because the fact that this kind of build is somewhat common, it could have actually punished this.
It's like actually we saw frustrating for this Overlord, though, as he does pick it, shoot it a couple of times, realizes he's going to get above that cliff, and he's just going to go straight into his natural. He's forced Zerglings at the very least.
Yeah, and it's kind of like what we saw yesterday. What map was that? On Calm of the Storm, where one guy went blind into the fast expansion, and the other guy went like a 10 pool, and it's just like, oh, hey, you got no units, you're dead now.
That does happen. Of course, with the double queen, A lot more trendy these days as we see the queen from the natural go straight into a creep gym and not an actual lava inject. Simply because at this point in time in the game, you're not going to have enough resources to spend that lava. And getting the creep out there is always a wise thing to do. So of course, we are going to have to follow up into reactive Hellions here for the STC with this command center already done and morphing into a orbital command. And we actually have a second barracks being built behind this as well. So let's see how Life handles the Hellion pressure that's about to show up.
Yeah, it's interesting here. We'll see. I wonder if he'll actually do what we saw the other day, yesterday, with the just lots of Marines and tank. I mean, I assume it's going to be Hellions, but that was a really cool mix-up we saw yesterday from Noblesse.
Absolutely was.
No, it's just going to be normal Hellions. And then he's going to switch over, probably start that tech lab. Yeah, there we go. Get those, probably stim going. There's the third barracks. Yeah, so it's just going to be normal build here from STC. He plays really safe just because his late game is so good and he's so hard to kill before then. You don't see him really do anything too crazy very often, just because it's just the confidence in his play, you know?
Yeah. Alright, so we do have a Roach Warren going down here for Live, though. And this is going to be very interesting. We do see 6 more drones in production, so it's more of a defensive measure I would go to venture a guess at the moment. But his creep spread is going to start getting forward very quickly. At the same time, he does have his Zerglings down here, has spotted these Hellions. There's actually quite a number of Zerglings. Needs to get a good spot on these Hellions, otherwise he's going to lose 2 of them, though, by the looks of it. Indecisive with those Zerglings for a second. Does get the nice surround going up that ramp as well. Is he going to get past here and get a scout of what's going on? No. Nice positioning by the STC.
That was quite a few Zerglings, too. But he did get 2 of the Hellions, which was a good look. He saw 2 more. So he knows that at the very least there's that reactor factory. I think he saw that as well. Yeah, he did. But he only saw, I think, 1 of those barracks. Yeah, he only saw 1 barracks up there, a tech lab researching something. So he has actually no idea what those other buildings are. He can take a good guess at it, but that's all he's going to have is a guess. And SCC is actually going to move out with the Hellions this time to clear out the watchtowers. So maybe that was just something particular against Pet that he thought he was going to bring in a lot of Zerglings earlier on. Because he is playing with these Hellions much more normally, the way you normally see the Hellions being used in the early game. Just clearing out the watchtowers, getting map control in the center. And look at this, Life actually committing Zerglings, trying to get up the ramp to get that scouting information. But the depots go up at the last second. He will spot that the factory moved in and Starport's done, but that's all. He really wants to get in there and see what he's doing.
Yeah, while that was happening as well, the Hellions did poke at that third base. We're driven off by the 4 Roaches here. And the STC is pulling back his Hellions to where his Marines are to try and get a little bit more DPS out of those and to take on these Roaches as he moves forward. There's 1 Marine getting very dangerously close up there, does get taken out. Of course, the Marines do still do quite a bit of damage to the Roaches and get a lot more better conquer. It's actually going to lose an Overlord here for Life, as they're both relatively even on supply, but Stim just finished up, and we do have 14 Lings in the way. Baneling Nest isn't done yet, so he's most likely going to lose this hatchery here. Only 3 Roaches coming forward. Roaches. Nice Stim by the STC, picks up a Queen as well. And now we have Banelings being morphed up here as the natural, but he is going to lose that hatchery. Scan goes down for the creep tumors as well.
Yeah, this is actually really nice timing here from STC. He had that reactor on that top barracks, just pumping Marines constantly, so he's actually got quite a few more than Life was expecting here. He switched off of those Hellions pretty quickly as well, and now he's just loading up the Hellions into the medevac. That's going to fly around, apply some pressure while the Marines try and get out. That was just really well done. He knew that he had an opportunity just to apply some pressure, caught Life with not enough units. He thought he was safe with the Roaches, and just taking out that third base is going to delay it quite a bit as he has to rebuild it immediately. And you can see he's still pumping out Zerglings right now because he doesn't know if STC is going to follow this up or not.
Well, it looks like STC is going to follow it up. He's actually got Marauders mixed in here because of those Roaches. Also going to help out with the Banelings if they can tank some of the damage there. Of course, does have Siege mode as well. He's got +1 weapons on the way. Combat Shield finishing up in a second. And we had a lair being going through a drop in. Where did those Hellions come from? I was actually paying attention to the army, but they're in the main now being cleaned up. They must have run straight past.
No, they were in the medevac.
Where's the medevac?
So the medevac must have flown in and died to the Queen, because I don't know where the medevac went. It might have just flown off after it dropped it. Yeah, there's a really low health medevac, so she probably just flew away. And now if you move in, deny the third base again. And this is a really potent strategy against Zerg players. If you open up with an aggressive build and just deny the third base repeatedly, it is so difficult for the Zerg player to deal with this. Because most of the Zerg builds hinge on having that 3-base economy. And the Zerg player will just feel starved if you continually deny this.
Yeah, the STC was just poking forward with his Marauders and actually got a lot of Banelings to blow up on them, to be honest. Yeah. There was quite a few of them there. We're looking at a 10, 11, 14 supply lead at the moment for the STC, and he does have a good unit composition. He's denying that third as long as he can. He's got to worry about any kind of run-bys, but as you can see, he's got a very nice depot wall down here to defend against that. And got more units coming in on the right-hand side. Infestors are going to come out in a second for Life. He's got double Evo chambers, but isn't actually upgrading for the second one. Whoa, the Zergling's coming forward.
Life is running away. He actually caught the reinforcements there. Could have done some damage, but he's just... You can see how tentative he is right now, just unsure on how many units were there. He's got no map vision at all. It was actually a pretty good opportunity for him, but he had no idea where the army of SCC was, so he couldn't commit to it. And that just shows a lot on how much the early pressure of SCC is doing right now. The fact that Life was scared that much, didn't even go after those reinforcements.
Okay, so it looks like Life is going to try and get a hatchery down here at the bottom right, as well as expanding to the 12 o'clock as well. He needs to get that third base up and running, wants the extra gas. He's got quite a few infestors on the way at the on the field at the moment. Quite a few Banelings as well, and the STC is really just sitting in the middle of the map, starting to max out now. He's at 141 supply, going to be maxed out very shortly, taking his third base. Of course, there are Zerglings to deny this, but it looks like the STC has found this extra hatchery just before it actually finishes. So is that going to be cancelled or not? Hey, it does get the Infestor though, with the Marauders that step forward. The STC's Marauders are so frustrating.
He's been doing a really good job of that. He did that against Pet quite a bit as well. Just sending forward a couple Marauders, stemming them, trying to pick off stray infestors, because if they're forward, he doesn't want to really waste any other units on those. You want to get the Zerglings in there, don't want to waste Banelings or anything like that. And he's had good success so far, because he's just slow pushing up towards it, but Life's swung around in the other direction, hitting these tanks from behind. It looks like he will be able to take out some of them. The last two are barely going to survive and chase away Life. That's going to be pretty crucial. He really wanted to take out those tanks. Getting the tank count lower would have helped him quite a bit, but without that going off, there's a lot of units here. You see the fungal's going down, but SCC is still holding this.
Yeah, he's got a lot of medivacs to really negate a lot of the fungal usage here. There's not enough Zerglings to back this up. He's got 4 tanks, two of them very low health though, one at about 50%. More infestors coming forward. There's actually mules being dropped at the front as he's taking out this third base yet again. He's running out of energy on these infestors. They're now cornered as well.
Medivacs are just out healing the fungals. Look at this.
It's the dangerous part about fungals. They're really effective in large clumps, but if there's a lot of medivacs there, like, they will out-heal it.
Yeah, he's also spacing out the fungals quite a bit when he had the energy. Didn't go for the immediate follow-up fungals, so didn't even kill any Marines there with all of those fungal growths. There's the GG. SCC is going to take out Life. And now ZENEX is going to reconsider sending out another Zerg.
Yeah, absolutely. Alright, so oGs is going to take the 2-1 lead for this one. Of course, this is the Korean Star League 2012 opening ceremonies. ZENEX versus oGs. The STC looking primed to all-kill here by the looks of it.
Looking really strong so far. So we'll see who comes out next. I can't even really give any predictions on that because I can't find the updated ZENEX roster.
Yeah, well, they have had quite a bit of team troubles in the past, and I think I think Life was their current strongest player. Of course, they did lose Coca, Puzzle, and quite a few other players, 2 Slayers back in the day. So we are going to go to the next game. It is going to be Treem.
Is Hack still on?
I'm not exactly sure where Hack ended up, but we are going to have next stream. Up next, it is going to be Belshire Beach against the STC, so we're going to see a PVT. Let's get into it.
We're on the one with the gold minerals again.
Oh, well, it's up to KSL to decide the map pool. We'll see how we go.
It's very odd.
Hacky's on StarTale now, someone in the chat is saying.
Okay, thank you. They've had so many roster shuffles, it's been really hard to keep track of.
Alright, it looks like we're ready to go. Ready? But of course, we're just waiting. There we go. There's the countdown. Going into game number 4 here. ZENEX versus oGs for the KSL. Should be good, Railcoon.
Yeah.
And welcome back, everyone. Game number 4 here for ZENEX versus oGs for the Korean Star League's 2012 opening ceremonies. Best of 11 team match here, GSTL rules. Of course, up next we have ZENEX Treem as our blue Protoss player on the left-hand side of Belshir Beach. And his opponent currently 2-0 in this match. oGs the STC as our red Terran. So can Treem stop the STC? I am unstable, joined here by Relkin. Let's find out in this next game. And this is going to be a very decisive one for ZENEX. Otherwise, if they start to lose this big of a margin, it becomes very disorientating, very discouraging for their new, like the next players that come out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be.
I think it's a play on the last word of next, similar to Oz, where that X becomes extreme.
Yeah, that's quite possible.
With his name.
That's quite possible. Just like ASD. No one knew whether his name was actually ASDF or just ASD.
Yeah. And, you know, FXOZ, where it's like, Oz, it's not Z, stop doing that.
Alright, so we don't currently have a gas here for the STC. Very standard in this matchup, though. Most likely going for your gasless expand. Very common in the TVP matchup. At the same time, we have seen a lot of strategies evolve from Terrans because the most likely response to that is, of course, the 1-gate expand as well to punish those early Nexus timings. And it looks like we'll find out which way he wants to go with it. He's actually lowered the supply depot. Is he going to raise it again before this? Yes, he is.
Yeah, it's actually way easier to block it off here on Belshir. You can see it only takes the one supply depot, so he doesn't even have to delay his barracks at all. Mm-hmm. And the early stages of PvT are pretty crazy metagame war. You can see Extreme does have his probe forward. He's cutting things out, and STC will actually drop the command center right in front of him, even though the Marine was there to chase him away. Interesting decision. He could have completely denied scouting there. But he wants that command center so much, he doesn't care. He's going to get it down as fast as possible.
Yeah, that's very true. Of course, we are going to see most likely a Nexus coming up any second for Extreme, as he's in the fine spot. He's going to start floating quite a bit of minerals. At the same time, he has a bit of chrono boost energy left on his Nexus. Not actually making any probes at the moment. Most likely just going to get the... well, actually, no. He went for a second Stalker here to put on some pressure down at the front. But look at this. There's already a bunker being made by the STC. And this is really in response to... I think the first person to do it would have been FXO's Oz. Always putting pressure on with the first couple of Stalkers. And it really forced Terrans to put that bunker up a lot quicker. Of course, we do have Extreme taking the middle of the map now. And where is he going to go with this? He's got 200 minerals banked up. Is he going to go for that Nexus, or is he going to go for something different?
Yeah, he has another Stalker out now. Just finished. The thing is, if you wanted to go for the 1 gateway pressure, you wind up putting a lot more chrono boosts into it than that.
Yeah. So
I don't think he's really committing to that. I think he just really wants the map control in the center. Since he saw that command center being dropped, wants to make sure that SCC has that bunker down, like you're saying, and it just has free reign over the middle of the map. And that will help him out in the early stages here quite a bit, because He's got his Nexus on the way. SDC has absolutely no idea about that, so he's going to have to play relatively safe. He's going to be able to make sure no SCVs can sneak out here and scout him. And then the Stalker's poking forward. Yep, you got a bunker. Good boy. And now he's just going to sit there.
Of course, we do have the standard 2 racks follow-up to this gasless expand for the STC, going straight into that tech lab for Stim. And right here, we actually have a robotics facility very quickly after that Nexus coming out here from Extreme. So we could be looking at some Warp Prism play, which I hope it is, because I love Warp Prism play.
It could also be an Immortal timing if he really wants to do something aggressive. Both options will be pretty viable for him. He's making more gateways. Looks like he's going to save up for another one. So he's got 4 gateways on the way. Robotics facility soon. No, he's not going to drop the 4th gateway. He's going to stick with 3 for now.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
He faked me out because he had that probe waiting there by the 3rd gateway, making me think he was going to drop another one.
Okay, so what are we going to see? Of course, an observer coming out of that robotics facility straight away. And actually, no extra tech coming out here from the STC just yet. Does have his 3rd gas down at his natural, though. Sorry, you were saying,
Academy
down
yes,
here? Down here. The one place I looked at and he didn't base, and he's like, oh.
Yeah, this is actually kind of risky when you get the ghost this early. It can pay off really well, but if it doesn't do a lot of damage, that's a lot of gas being thrown into that, and it delays the other parts of your build quite a bit. So he's going to have to do a pretty significant amount of damage with these ghosts to make them pay off properly. And we saw another player, oh my god, who was that yesterday? Went for the fast ghosts, didn't quite get enough damage done with them, and then just died to a counterattack.
Of course, we do see a Twilight Council now for Extreme. Could be going for some Blink play. It's quite possible. He still does have the watchtowers in the middle of the map, though. He is, of course, have his Observer over here as well. But he has only just started coming into the base. Will he see this Ghost Academy down the bottom right? It's quite possible. Usually you see these Observers scout every second.
He's going to stop right beforehand and turn away. Wow. He actually just missed that. Oh my god.
That is going to be very dangerous here, especially since he's going to be sitting at the top of the ramp. Is not pre-split as this army comes across. Has scouted the Marines coming forward, but of course, where are the Ghosts? They are actually trailing a little bit behind. Is this Ob's going to catch the Ghosts as he comes across, though? That is something he needs to know.
Oh, he is so close to seeing those Ghosts. He will adjust his pattern, and he almost saw them. Okay, there we go. He sees a Ghost unstable.
And there's the split. Very close.
That was very crucial, because if he hadn't split those sentries like that, oh my god, that would have been painful.
Probably wouldn't be going up the ramp in this case if I was the SDC, but it looks like, whoa, that observer running into the scan.
Right into the scan. Oops.
Oops, indeed, and he's actually SDC going for a 3rd command center as well. I do like the fact he didn't commit to that after he saw the scan and there was already pre-split. Very clutch move by that observer, though. And the Zealot's actually running past here. See what's going on. Most likely see these rocks be taken out by the STC.
Yeah, it's interesting that Extreme is actually still going straight for the Templars right now, as he was starting along that tech pattern. Some other players, when this next situation happens, you'll see what they do is when they see this many ghosts out early, they've got the robotics facility, try and switch over into Colossus sometimes, but he's going to stick with the Templars. It's going to be very tough. He's got to make sure he takes care of these properly. Can't let them get sniped or EMP'd. And this is the issue. You know, now SCC is going to set up a planetary fortress on the golds. And that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, this is not the GSL version. The GSL version, of course, is the winter tile set now and does not have any gold minerals at all. Of course, Rich Gust being Geyser as well here on Belshire Beach. And in regards to the Colossus, you really need that extra 2 gas from the 3rd base to really go into both techs at once. We, of course, don't have Blink just yet. We got Zealot speed on the way, though. And but as you were saying, as well, this gold base here with the Planetary Fortress is going to be very difficult for Extreme to deal with.
Yeah, it basically locks down one of these pathways in the center of the map. Some of the units here by SCC getting caught off by themselves. By the army of Extreme.
Oh, a Ghost
going down. God. One Ghost almost getting away, forcing a lot of force fields before he gets out.
2, 3, 6 force fields to kill 1 Ghost. Yeah.
That's pretty much as cost effective as throwing an EMP down. So that's pretty much fine for that Ghost there. And now SDC realizing, hey, I used a bunch of your energy. Oh my god, premature Guardian Shield from Extreme as well.
It looks like he's very nervous in this situation. Of course, Storm is done. We do have 1, 2, 3,
He's so clumped.
5.
He's so clumped, unstable. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
There's no cloaking on the Ghost though, so we will have to be careful. The Planetary Fortress doing a lot of damage. EMP down on the Stalkers. Nice feedback on the first Ghost there. Storm running into it for the SDC. There we go, he had split up. There's a lot of forces in different spots here for him at the moment. Doesn't really have that high of a medivac count. There's another Storm doing a lot of damage to those Marauders at the front. And it actually looks like the SDC only has, as both these guys Mac are right as I say it, only about a 1 supply lead at the moment. And this Observer is sneakily sitting right on top of the army. At the same time, we got 1 Marine attacking this 3rd base up here, forcing Extreme to bring his whole army back.
This, that Ghost didn't actually die, so it's actually getting healed up. Another Ghost is out. There's 2 more on the way. So the Ghost count is starting to get up there. He's going to have more EMPs available. That was a good feedback from Extreme, though. He only got 1 EMP off that really didn't catch much before it was feedbacked. So he had a lot of energy too. He would have been able to blanket that army quite effectively.
Double Forge on the way, of course, for Extreme. A drop on the left-hand side. At the same time, he comes into the 3rd. Does he? Is he going to storm the SCVs? Yes, he will. There it goes. He most likely will get this Planetary down. And nice storms as the snipes come up here for the SDC.
He backs off at the last second. He doesn't commit to kill the Planetary Fortress, and that's going to be really big for STC. The fact that that does not go die. Extreme put a lot of units into trying to kill that and then backs off at the last second. Now STC is unloading in the main base with some Marines and Marauders.
Nice feedback.
And there's not much here to stop it. Except, yeah, there we go. There's just 1 Zealot here, and Extreme is poking in on the 3rd base again, but there's less units this time. Dodging these storms, that's not going to do anything, and all those probes are going down unstable.
Yeah, exactly. He's now going to chase him down here. Of course, nice storms coming down. A lot of these units are on low health here for the STC. He's been running into storms a little bit as he's been chasing forward a couple of times now. There is that Ghost. Extreme really wants to kill off that Ghost as he's going forward. Does pick it off, but he's going to have to back off because of that Planetary. This whole time, 3rd base is up and running for Extreme. He's got his Double Forge being going out now. He's got the halfway through double +1. And he's still engaging here in the middle of the map. Actually, a Storm catching quite a few units. And Extreme's forces just seem to be whittling down this bio ever so much. And this Planetary Fortress really keeping this.
Yeah, that's the issue, is that there's a Planetary Fortress on the gold base here. And the gold is giving him such an income spike that even though he's getting slightly worse end of the trading here, he's got so much income that he's still able to reproduce that, and it's fine. So it's closer to trading to even. You can see he's got the bigger supply. Their worker count is pretty much the same.
As you say that, sorry to cut you off, but there's actually a drop in the main, and actually does get a feedback off on the Medivac, Wolfing and Zealots, and the Archon trying to be more from the 2 High Templars does get picked off by the SDC as he comes out.
But yeah, I mean, look at this. SDC's just constantly skirmishing outside of his 3rd base, and he's actually pulling ahead in supply. 4th base will be done soon, and that's going to be really important because, well, the gold base is almost out.
And also looks like Extreme taking a top right-hand base as well. And he's actually going to have a very strong eco lead in a second because the SDC is going to mine out of this gold very shortly. He's also trying to make another command center down here for the 6 o'clock position. Both of them pretty much on roughly the same supplies. Actually, no, it's more like 20 supply difference in favor of the STC. But he's coming into this Planetary again. He really wants this to die. Storm's going down on the SCVs, killing quite a lot of them that time and backing up. And that worked out quite well.
That was really good. STC tried to dodge, but he just was not fast enough. That was a lot of SCVs going down. I think that was about 15 by the numbers down I can see.
But a drop into the main at the same time.
He's being ruthless with this. And at the same time, we see that Extreme is actually teching up the Colossus. The Robotics Bay is right there next to the units that just got dropped. He's only sending 2 Zealots over here. Okay, here comes a couple more Zealots. So we'll force him to have to load up and fly away. And he's just going to fly into the natural now instead. Forcing Extreme to have to pull back actually the rest of his army. That's going to be pretty important because that gives the SDC a really nice positioning outside of the bases with this gigantic army. Oh, look at that. That was in perfect position to blanket Extreme with EMPs when he comes out. But he's been spreading his Templars very effectively, getting some good storms off, now charging in with the Archons. These storms have been doing a good amount of damage, but just not enough. There's too many units here from STC.
Yeah, he's definitely starting to get the supply need out. 40 up over Extreme. Extreme does have quite a bit of bank though, 800 at the moment. He's most likely going to lose this Nexus. Another stim comes down from the FTC's forces, and he's just going to just micro his way out of this one. All the Zealots are going